What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Lane's Man Cave, and in today's video, I am going to predict the entire 2025 WNBA season, including the standings, the playoffs, and the awards. Let's go! We are going to start off with the standings. Starting off with the 13th seed, we got the Golden State Valkyries. The Valkyries will definitely be an interesting team this year. They have a lot of young players, and a lot of international players, thanks to head coach Natalie Nakasi's history on the international stage. The Valkyries have a lot of potential for future success, but right now, they have a whole roster of players that have never played with each other, and their priority this year will be building chemistry. The 12th seed, the Connecticut Sun. The Sun will have a brand new team this year, as they lost all 5 of their starters from last season, and have a new head coach. Marina Mabrey averaged 15 points off the bench last year, and their only other impact player is 36-year-old Tina Charles. The Sun do have young talent, including rookies Anissa Morrow and Sanaya Rivers, second-year guard J.C. Sheldon, and Olivia Nelson-Ododa, who is the Sun's only returning player aside from Mabrey. But like I said, this is a rebuilding year for Connecticut, and it's hard to envision this team going to the playoffs. The 11th seed, the Washington Mystics. The Mystics should be an interesting team. Aaliyah Edwards has star potential in the W, but she will be out for a minimum of 2 weeks. Brittany Sykes and Stephanie Dolson are both in their 30s and are showing signs of decline. The Mystics had a great draft this year. Georgia Amore could miss the whole season with an ACL injury, but Sonia Citrone and Kiki Iriafin could both start for this team, and they drafted Lucy Olson in the second round. The Mystics were close to making the playoffs, despite Sykes and Shakira Austin missing a lot of time, but a lot will have to go right for this team to make it to the playoffs this year. The 10th seed, the Chicago Sky. Courtney Vandersloot, Kia Nurse, and Rebecca Allen give the Sky some much-needed veteran leadership, and of course, Ariel Atkins gives the Sky a boost to their defense. Angel Reese was a walking double-double last year, but if the Sky want any sort of success this year or in the future, then they must run their offense through Camila Cardoso. I know all the stat watchers love Reese, but anyone who actually knows basketball knows that Cardoso is better offensively and defensively. The big thing that will hold back the Sky from making the playoffs is their lack of three-point shooting. They are at the bottom of the WNBA in three-point attempts and second to last in overall offensive rating. The 9th seed, the Atlanta Dream. The Dream had the lowest offensive rating in the W last year, and they still don't have many scorers outside of Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray. Howard is an all-star player with superstar potential, but as it stands, she is not good enough to be a first option on a playoff team. Brittany Griner is getting older, but still has a lot of good basketball left in the tank. Brianna Jones is a solid big, but not enough to move the needle. And Jordan Canada is a great defender, an improving passer, but overall, not good enough offensively. The Dream's playoff chances all come down to whether Howard can put it together in year 4. Like I said, she has the tools, but has yet to shoot over 40% from the field in the WNBA. The 8th seed, the Dallas Wings. I am a strong believer that Paige Beckers will have a Caitlin Clark-level impact in her first year in Dallas. Paired up with all WNBA guard Arike Ogunbowale, the Wings could have one of the best backcourts in the W. The front court, on the other hand, will be one of the weakest units. Satu Sabali and Natasha Smith are gone, even though Sabali only played 15 games last year. The Wings had the worst defensive rating in the WNBA last year, and didn't do a lot to fix it, with the exception of adding Dejanay Carrington, who was all defensive first team last year. But I still believe that Beckers and Ogunbowale will be enough to carry the Wings to the playoffs. The 7th seed, the Seattle Storm. The Storm are due to regress this year without Jewel Lloyd, but they will still be a good team. Nneka Ogumike and Skylar Diggins are getting older, but they still have a lot of good basketball left in them. Ezi Magbegor has been one of the best defenders in the W for the past few years and could contend for Defensive Player of the Year, and rookie Dominique Malonga will come off the bench. Malonga has been labeled as a female Wemby, and rightfully so, but she is one of the youngest players in the WNBA and will need time to adjust. The Storm have arguably the best defense in the W, but were also the worst three-point shooting team last year. That being said, the defense will be enough for the Storm to be a playoff team. The 6th seed, the Phoenix Mercury. Diana Taurasi retired, and Brittany Griner is now on the Dream. But the Mercury have a new big two, Alyssa Thomas and Satu Sabali, and they still have Kalia Copper. Sabali has shown flashes of greatness, but also has injury concerns, as she only played 15 games last year and more than 20 games only once in her 5-year career. Outside of the free-headed monster, there is a lot to be concerned about, specifically their lack of guard depth. Right now they have Ced Usen, Celeste Taylor, a 36-year-old Sammy Whitcomb, and a 24-year-old Monique Akoa-Makani coming out of France. Akoa-Makani has a good ceiling, but you can't guarantee that she'll be good right away. The Mercury have a lot of star power, but with a lack of rim protection and a quality point guard, there is a lot to be desired. The 5th seed, the Los Angeles Sparks. We all know the buzz around the Sparks right now is trading for Kelsey Plum. Plum is coming off a down year, but is now in a new situation where she gets to be the undisputed first option for the first time in her career. Outside of Plum, De'Erica Hamby is coming off her most productive season, Rakia Jackson had a solid rookie year and is primed to break out, and Cameron Brink, in her limited games, has shown that she is already one of the best rim protectors in the W. In the 15 games she played, Brink averaged over 2 blocks per game, which is something only Asia Wilson and Ezi Magbagor can say they did. The Sparks will also have more depth going into this season. Ray Burrell has improved every year she's been in the W. Odyssey Sims will be in LA for a full season, and Azura Stevens and Ari McDonald will be back healthy. With Lynn Roberts taking over as head coach, the Sparks should improve drastically on offense and overall. The 4th seed, the Indiana Fever. Caitlin Clark's impact was monumental for the Fever. She brought a consistent bottom feeder to the playoffs, led the entire WNBA in assists, broke many rookie records, and became a clear-cut top 5 player in the W. But she's not doing it alone. Aaliyah Boston has been an all-star in both her seasons in the W. Kelsey Mitchell is the perfect running mate for Clark in the backcourt, and the Fever added some much-needed veteran leadership, adding Dawana Bonner, Natasha Howard, Sophie Cunningham, and Sydney Colson, and they still have Lexi Hall coming off the bench, who has improved every year. The Fever's offense was already tough to stop, but under new head coach Stephanie White, the Fever's defense, which ranked second to last in defensive rating, will be much improved. The Fever have arguably the deepest team in the WNBA and are looking like a serious title contender. The 3rd seed, the Las Vegas Aces. Kelsey Plum is out, and Jewel Lloyd is in. The Aces are coming off a down year with Chelsea Gray and Jackie Young dealing with injuries, but everyone is healthy now, and the Aces have championship experience at all 5 positions. Asia Wilson is still the best player in the world, and as long as she is around, the Aces will be contenders. But the main thing that will keep them out of the top 2 is their depth. Megan Gustafson suffered a lower leg injury, and it is unknown when she will return, and Cheyenne Parker-Tyus will miss the start of the season. But that being said, Becky Hammon is the best coach in the W, and will keep the Aces afloat. The 2nd seed, the Minnesota Lynx. The Lynx have one advantage that no other WNBA team has. They are running it back with the exact same starting lineup they had last year, so developing chemistry will not be an issue. The Lynx were a dominant defensive team last year and are surrounded by shooters. Nafisa Collier won Defensive Player of the Year and was close to winning MVP. Kayla McBride shot over 40% from free, and both Bridget Carlton and Alana Smith took significant strides. Not to mention, the Lynx have a major chip on their shoulder, as they were a few points away from beating the Liberty and being WNBA champions. And finally, the 1st seed, the New York Liberty. It's pretty hard not to put the Liberty at the top. The defending champions are returning their big three, Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, and Jonquel Jones. Courtney Vandersloot is no longer around, but she is heading into her twilight years, and they upgraded with Natasha Cloud. Cloud gives the Liberty higher scoring upside, better playmaking, and versatility on defense. The only real concern I have with the Liberty is that Benaya Laney Hamilton, a crucial two-way player, will not be around for the regular season, but this will allow Leonie Fiebich into the starting lineup. Fiebich has shown a lot of potential as a three-point shooter and was the team's X-factor in their championship run. Being inserted into the starting lineup will allow her to expand on her game, and on the bench, Niala Sabali could grow into one of the best backup bigs in the W. And now on to the playoffs. In the first round, we got the Liberty taking on the Wings, the Lynx and the Storm, the Aces and the Mercury, and the Fever taking on the Sparks. I have all the series ending in 2 games, except for the Fever and the Sparks, because I do believe that LA could give the top 4 teams a run for their money. In the second round, I got the Liberty over the Fever in 4 games, and the Lynx over the Aces in 5 games, which leads to a Liberty-Lynx WNBA Finals rematch, which I don't like doing, but they are the 2 best teams in the W. Last year, we saw the Liberty and Lynx go into a 5-game series, with the Liberty ultimately winning Game 5 in overtime. But this year, I believe the Lynx will successfully get their revenge, but also in 5 games, with Finals MVP going to Napheesa Collier. And finally, the awards. Starting off with Rookie of the Year, I got Paige Bueckers. This is the easiest award to predict, as Bueckers is projected to be one of the only rookies to start this year. Bueckers is coming off a 50-40-90 season at UConn and a national championship. I believe Bueckers could have a Caitlin Clark level impact in year 1 and be a top 15 player in the W, maybe top 10. For Most Improved Player, I got Cameron Brink. Brink only played 15 games last year, but has already shown promise as an elite shot blocker and defensive anchor. Like I said earlier, I do expect the Sparks to be a top 5 team in the WNBA, but that won't be possible without a healthy Brink. That being said, this award will not come without honorable mentions, those being Brink's teammate Rakia Jackson, Camila Cardoso, Leonie Fibich, and Shakira Austin. For Defensive Player of the Year, I got Asia Wilson. Wilson narrowly lost the award last year to Napheesa Collier. She led the WNBA in blocks per game and averaged nearly 2 steals, but the Aces were 5th in defensive rating, but should be higher now that they are healthier. Wilson has established herself as the best player in the WNBA and one of the best of all time. Adding a third DPOY to her resume would put Wilson in the GOAT debate. Honorable mentions for this award: Napheesa Collier, Ezi Magbegor, and Cameron Brink. For the MVP, give me Napheesa Collier. Collier had a strong case for MVP last year, as she averaged a near double-double and career highs in most stats, but Asia Wilson had a historic season of her own. Collier is coming into the season with a chip on her shoulder, as she was not only super close to winning MVP, but also a championship, but I believe this will be Collier's year. The only other players I considered for this award are Asia Wilson and Caitlin Clark. And finally, the All-WNBA teams. For the first team, give me Napheesa Collier, Asia Wilson, Caitlin Clark, Brianna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu. And for the second team, Alyssa Thomas, Arike Agunbowale, Nneka Ogumike, Kelsey Plum, and Jackie Young. I strongly considered putting Paige Bueckers and Cameron Brink on the second team, but if the Wings and or Sparks are better than I thought, they could both end up here. And that does it for today's video. If you made it to the end, you are greatly appreciated, as this video took a long time to make, and I had to put a lot of research into this, as this WNBA season will be my first full season that I watched, and I will be looking forward to it. Anyways, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications.